What's good, y'all? This is Cypher. I make music so you don't have to, and we are looking at the Mount Rushmore of hip hop, period, dead or alive. So if you don't mind, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications so you can see more great videos like this. You may be wondering, why would I do that if I'm not a subscriber and I'm just now clicking on your video? Well, you're going to watch this video and I guarantee you're going to want to subscribe and see more. I highly consider it. So this is what y'all voted for. You see that right there. That's what y'all voted for as far as which video is next. And we're going to do a Mount Rushmore of hip hop. So if you've been following the channel, you know that I've already done the South Side, East Coast, and West Coast Mount Rushmores. But now we have to put all of it in a culmination of one list. A Mount Rushmore of 4 GOATs that cannot be denied, right? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to split up into 4 categories. We got influence, catalog, aura, and lyricism. Those are the 4 you need to qualify for this list. You have to have all 4 to be able to be on the Mount Rushmore of hip hop, period. Now, to be fair, I will take one person from each side of the map, north, south, east, west, and we're going to conglomerate it all in one. So we got West Coast, East Coast, South Side, and North Side. But we're going to put North Side and Midwest together because a lot of people put them together in association with hip hop. It's 2 different things, but a lot of people put them together as one. So we're going to be fair and put it together as one. So with each one, we're going to give 3 different honorable mentions. So 3 honorable mentions along with the 4th person we end up actually choosing. 4 people, Mount Rushmore, 4, you get the theme. 4 categories, that's the theme. We're going to start off with the West Coast. So with the West Coast, honorable mention number 1 goes to Kendrick Lamar. So I know he's a hot commodity right now. It's fresh off the rip. That's what we've been talking about lately. But I already thought that. I already thought Kendrick Lamar was already on the Mount Rushmore list, but more so off the West Coast. So we got to look at the accolades, right? Let's look at the categories. So as far as lyricism, 10 for 10 for sure. As far as catalog, I'd say 10 for 10. His albums have a good resume, so we know what Kendrick rocking. We know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? I say Kendrick Lamar for catalog. Now, as far as influence, I don't really see too many people just rocking with Kendrick enough to say I want to be like Kendrick, or I want to rap like him, or I have that same career path. A lot of people respect him and like him as a fan and as an artist, but not necessarily enough to follow in his footsteps. And then we also have aura. And are we going to give K-Dot the GOAT? Are we going to put him on the GOAT list? I don't really hear that. I hear that he's like the best lyricist today, but I don't hear him being on the GOAT list. And that's what we're looking for. So you have to fit all 4 categories. That's why he's honorable mention. And before I go any further, I want to explain and remind y'all what each category means. So when it comes to influence, it's basically how many people want to be like you and how many people study your music enough to try to emulate you in your career. Aura. How many people are actually putting you in the GOAT conversation? How many people are seeing you and like, yeah, I think he's the best, right? Catalog, your body of work, how much you put into it and how important it is to the industry and the rap game. And of course, lyricism. You can't be on the Mount Rushmore list and not have good lyrics. It's impossible. So you have to have all 4 categories, and Kendrick has 2 out of 4, and that's why he is on the honorable mention list. So now we have number 2 on the honorable mention list. We have, I'd say, Ice Cube. So Ice Cube is one of those artists that everybody knows. He's been in the game and been known for more than 35 years. He's been part of NWA. He's been in a bunch of movies. He had a great solo career, and he is still active to this day. So Ice Cube, yeah, definitely in the conversation for Mount Rushmore of the West Coast. But as far as overall, I can't really say that. So let's look into the 4 categories. We have lyricism. I'd say, yeah, in a way. He was the leader of the lyricist movement on the West Coast, especially back in the NWA days. We have aura. No, not too many people are saying Ice Cube is in the upper echelon of the rap game. They're saying he's a great artist, memorable, Hall of Fame worthy, but not in the GOAT category. We have influence. Not too many people just trying to say that they rapping like Ice Cube, but trying to be his underling like that. So you don't really see that much. As far as catalog, I see it as a good Hall of Fame catalog as far as being, having memorable albums, but not memorable enough to say he's the GOAT or in the Mount Rushmore. So that's why he's also not in the Mount Rushmore. And as far as our 3rd pick for honorable mention, we have to give it to Snoop D-O-double-G, Snoop Dogg, the godfather, the dogfather of the West Coast. So Snoop has had a long career. It's been panning out for decades. He's still active to this day and one of the most influential people on the West Coast and the hip hop period. So when it comes to influence, oh yeah, 10 out of 10. He's definitely the godfather of the West Coast. So he's been doing that. He's been in movies. He's been in so many things. And a lot of people want to emulate that career path. He's been able to switch things up. He's been able to go rock, reggae, and different funk. He's been able to switch it up so much to where he is instrumental in the hip hop culture. Now, as far as everything else, let's look at the categories. So we already got influence for one. Lyricist, not necessarily. He has enough lyrics to hold his own to today's climate as far as being an OG, but he's never been known as being the most lyrical artist ever. So we can't give him lyricism, but we can give him influence. As far as aura, only in the West Coast. He is on the Mount Rushmore of everybody's West Coast for sure. But when it comes to being the GOAT, Snoop's not in that category. He doesn't get talked about enough, so he doesn't get aura. As far as catalog, the catalog is there. Plenty of albums, plenty of mixtapes, still active to this day, and each and every one has some type of classic feel to it that lets you know and reminds you that he definitely is a GOAT on the West Coast. But that's when we get to our actual pick for the West Coast, and that goes to Tupac. Now, for those who try to be finicky and be technical, yes, we know Tupac is from New York, but we know that he is a West Coast artist. That's what he's represented his whole career. That's who he is. That's what he does. He is from the West Coast. So that's what we're going to put him under. He's a West Coast artist. So let's check the categories. Lyricism, yeah, Tupac is known to everybody for having the bars and the words that make you say, man, he is spitting that truth. And when I say lyricism, it doesn't have to be subliminal, lyrical, criminal, digital. It doesn't have to be like that. It has to be good enough and potent enough to make you say he is a good, great Hall of Fame rapper. So yes, he has the lyrics. He has the catalog with deep albums and albums that still hold its own to this day. Influence, of course. There's so many people who love Pac and still consider him to be a GOAT to this day. And people want to emulate his career, his style. He's been in movies. He's been doing everything. He's had a group. He's been solo. He's been doing everything. So Pac is definitely getting that as far as influence. As far as that, we had that. He definitely has an influence. He has the catalog and the lyricism. As far as the aura, of course, like I just said, people call him the GOAT all the time. So he has that aura. People know him as that guy that if he stayed in the game longer and was alive, then he would have had the whole thing on lock from beginning to end. So that's why Tupac gets this slot in the Mount Rushmore list. Now we move over to the East Coast. So on the East Coast, it's going to be a little harder because there's a lot more acts. It's a lot more potent. So we have to get into more technical aspects of it. So let's look at the East Coast, right? So as far as the honorable mention, number one, y'all gonna hate me for it, but I gotta be real. Biggie Smalls, right? Let's look at the 4 categories. Lyricism, of course. Probably one of the best lyricists, if not the best lyricist of the 90s. I gotta give it to him. Biggie had that style. Early 90s, I'll say. Biggie had that. He had it on lock. Mid 90s, he had it on lock. So he had the lyricism. As far as the influence, of course, people to this day still want to be King Biggie. They got the King Biggie poster. They got the King Biggie on their wall. They want to emulate Biggie Smalls. The Notorious B.I.G., he's still relevant. His name to this day. Influence. So aura. You know what I mean? He has that aura. People have been calling aura. People have been saying he's the GOAT to this day. They know they know he has everything it takes to be one of the best. If he didn't die early, he would have had the game on lock too, just like Pac could have had. So he has aura, he has influence, he has lyricism, and the only thing that's messing him up is that catalog. He has no catalog. He has like 2 albums, Ready to Die, and the other one, and it's like, and please don't take his disrespect because I'm freestyling here, so I can't just fact check everything right now. You know what I mean? We know what Biggie's been doing. We know what he's done. So he has his couple albums, but there's not enough material to call him a GOAT. If he had stayed in the game and been in rap longer and been alive, then that would have been different. But we have to go off all 4 categories, and he's missing the catalog, so that's why he's in the honorable mentions list. And to be fair, this next slot can go to so many people. A lot of people say 50 Cent, a lot of people say Nas, a lot of people even say Busta Rhymes. But if you want me to be honest, I'll give you a more fair one that you may disagree with. But if we look at the whole overall everything, we put Kendrick on the West Coast. Let's put J. Cole on the East Coast. Third honorable mention goes to J. Cole. So if you want to look at everything, let's check the 4 categories, right? Lyricism, yeah, one of the best to ever do it. I gotta give it to him. He is poetic and aggressive at the same time, and potent, very knowledgeable lyrics. Influence, not so much. Doesn't have as much influence as you would think, but he is the new generation to where a lot of people that rap now want to be like a J. Cole. So I get that, but not necessarily enough to put him up there in the upper echelon of artists. As far as catalog, yeah, I say he has a really good catalog of albums. He has a potent list of albums. Everything is pretty classic for the most part. He has a lot of classic albums. 2014 Forest Hills Drive, Born Center, and KLD. It's a lot of them. So he definitely has the catalog to put that out. One thing he is missing though is the aura. So people don't talk about him as being the GOAT or the one of the best to ever do it, period. They put him in as the best in today's music, but not as like a GOAT. So you have to have that GOAT talk. That's what's part of the aura. The aura is being talked about as being the GOAT. So that's why J. Cole is not on the Mount Rushmore list. So now we get to our actual pick, which is Jay-Z. He may not be your choice, he's not my choice, but he's the people's choice. He's been the number one on every rap list for years. He's like, every year they have a top rap list of rappers ever. He's always number one. I don't care if he's paying somebody or if it's people that feel like that, but he is. And there are people in person I've talked to that a lot of them say Jay-Z as the best to do it. I mean, that's what it is right now. That's how it's been. So that's why he's been put in that category, and that's why he's in that situation now as being the GOAT of that. Now, as far as New York, that's different. As far as the East Coast, that's different. He's not just talked about on the East Coast, he's talked about worldwide as being a GOAT to a lot of people. A lot of people saying if Biggie was around, Jay-Z wouldn't, but a lot of people are also saying that Jay-Z took that mantle for Biggie, so that's why he is the new GOAT of the rap game. So it just depends on your preference, but you can't deny the categories. Lyricism, of course, 10 for 10. Influence, of course he's influenced. He influences a whole generation of people. Even Lil Wayne was influenced by Jay-Z and switched his whole style up just to be more like Jay-Z. As far as body of work, come on man, the Blueprints, the whole series, he has that body of work to be called a GOAT, if not the GOAT, as far as a classic catalog. All the Blueprints, and to be honest, he really didn't even need 444 after that or Holy Grail. What he had was already enough to solidify him as being the guy. And as far as aura, like I said, hey, people talk about him being the GOAT all the time. He has that aura, he has that talk. He's still rubbing to today, even though he doesn't make that much music. If he drops something, it's automatically going to the top. So he has that status. So whether you like him, like it or not, he is on the Mount Rushmore of hip hop. So now we go down south, and this is one of the ones that I had to take down a lot because it can go either way, just like New York, just like East Coast. It can go either way, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to get these honorable mentions out the way. Number one honorable mention I'd say is Andre 3000, and he gets docked a lot of points for these reasons, right? So even though he has all the lyrics and is considered a GOAT to a lot of people that consider him a GOAT are already in the rap game, in the business. A lot of your casual fans don't consider Andre as being one of those guys. They know him as Hey Ya, that guy, or the guy with the flute. That's what they know him as. They don't know him for all his hard-hitting lyrics and all those crazy albums and just the level of talent and gift he has lyrically. They don't know him like that. But a lot of people that actually make music and make music with him know that he is the GOAT lyrically. Like there ain't nobody over him, in our opinion. But we have to look at the whole scale, and a lot of people don't really see him as that. So even though he has the lyrics, it's not known enough, and which ties into his everything else, right? So let's get into that. Lyricism, yes, but no, because people don't know. Catalog, which just kills him instantly. He has no album. He has one album that he just came out with last year, and it was a flute album. Was that last year or this year? It was recent, but it was a flute instrumental album. No music, no lyrics. I mean, all music. So, at his long span career, he's only had joint albums, features, and when he finally does drop an album, it's all instrumental. So it kind of disqualifies him off key, to be honest with you. As far as influence, again, he influences a generation of rappers that's in the industry, but not your casual music-loving fan. He doesn't really influence them to make music like him. They're just fans of his music and of his work, so it doesn't really count. So that's why you get, the lack of thereof when it comes to a catalog. As far as influence, he has a lyricism, but those other two categories are lacking. So as far as aura, by default, because of the other categories not being there and being non-existent, he doesn't have the aura of being a GOAT because he doesn't have those other things to help carry that narrative. So that's why he doesn't get it. Now another one I'd say is Pimp C. Pimp C was originally in my Mount Rushmore for a long time, but I had to look at all 4 categories and he just doesn't fit all 4 categories. So let's check it out. Lyricism, never really been the best lyricist. His lyrics are dope enough to make you want to rap along with him, but not necessarily the most potent lyrics in the hip hop world. So he doesn't really get that there to be qualified for the Mount Rushmore. Influence, of course, everybody from the South want to be like Pimp C. There wouldn't be a lot of artists without Pimp C. There wouldn't be a Big Crit. It wouldn't be a Young Dro. It wouldn't be a Mike Jones. It wouldn't be a Paul Wall. It wouldn't be a Slim Thug. It wouldn't be a Lil Kiki. It wouldn't be a lot of people if it wasn't for Pimp C. It wouldn't even be a Bun B without Pimp C, to be honest, because a lot of people anchored onto Pimp C for being their go-to guy when it came to UGK, Underground King. So Pimp C had the influence, but he didn't have the lyricism. Therefore, he didn't have the aura. Because he had the influence, but not necessarily lyricism. But he also didn't have the aura because of those things, because they didn't really consider him as being a solo artist either, and there wasn't enough to back it up. And he died kind of early. And on top of that, when it comes to catalog, again, it wasn't in there enough to really just get a full-fledged project from him like that. Most of his works were known to be with Bun B as a part of UGK, as opposed to having his own personal works that you can judge off of. So he missed a lot because he didn't get to get invested in a lot. But as far as pure raw talent, he could rap, sing, and produce beats, and he was a big influence in the South. So definitely gets that huge honorable mention. The third slot's kind of tangible. It really depends on your preference. I hear a lot of people say Scarface, and I hear a lot of people say T.I. You can really look at it from either scale. There's a lot of Southern artists that influenced people and had like a great catalog. So you have Jeezy with a big influence and a great catalog, but he's missing lyricism and aura. You got Gucci who has influence and a catalog, but is missing lyricism and aura. So you have these people that are there, but they don't have all the things to make them a GOAT or on the Mount Rushmore list. So it's really tangible. But I want to go with, I like to say Scarface as a strong second tier honoree, but I'm going to give it to T.I. for another honorable mention because he was influential when he was out. He was the new coming of the South. He was labeled and dubbed the Jay-Z of the South, and he got that moniker for a reason. So that's why I consider him that. So lyricist, definitely. Aura, not really there because people didn't really talk about him as being the GOAT or the greatest artist. He was more so a guy that you really liked and messed with song-wise. So you rocked with T.I. a lot. So he didn't really have the aura. As far as influence, he definitely influenced a generation of Southern artists. He put Atlanta on the map, and he really raised the bar for Atlanta artists. And as far as catalog, definitely Hall of Fame catalog. Plenty of dope albums, plenty of prestigious, memorable, honorable albums. So he's definitely got that. He's just missing those other things that put him there on the list. So that's when we get to our actual pick, which is, I ain't gonna say it's a no-brainer, but you pretty much know how it's gonna go. Who else, man, from the South? It's Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne gets it. He gets it without even having much explanation. I mean, come on. Lyricism, of course. Influence, of course. Aura, of course. They keep calling him the GOAT every day. Whether you believe it or agree with it or not, he's called the GOAT a lot. As far as, catalog, come on. Like, the guy has so many albums and the mixtape is not even funny. The guy's been around since he was a kid. He's been through groups. He's been through having a solo artist run. He's had his own group. He's the guy. He deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore list. And that's where we're going to leave it. So now we go to North Side / Midwest. And this where things get a little, again, finicky because there's not too many artists you can reach from for that conversation. There's a lot of artists out there that are really good, but not too many out there that you can say, oh yeah, he's probably the best. So the honorable mention list is kind of short, but I'm gonna give you a good third selection just so to pick your brain a little bit. First one is definitely Kanye West. I definitely consider Kanye West as one of the best to ever do it as far as being on the Mount Rushmore list. I can't say that because the obvious thing that would be there for him to be there is aura, and people never talk about Kanye being the greatest. They attest to his genius and his talent and his art, but never call him like the GOAT of anything. They don't really say that. So I can't give him that because he has no aura when it comes to that. Lyricism, of course, Kanye's been known for having one of the best lyrics, period, the best catalog. His albums only got better and better as he progressed. So he has the catalog, and the influence is amazing. You can't really go nowhere without saying how Kanye influenced somebody at some point. Even rappers, like if you hear people go, nah, that's Kanye. That's Kanye who actually made that more popular. I'm not going to say he started it. I don't have any proof of that, but I will say he made it popular because I never heard it before Kanye did it, or making words rhyme that don't really rhyme, but you say it funny so it can rhyme. He's the one that really made that a thing. So influence is definitely there. So that's why I say Kanye definitely is a high priority on the list of honorable mentions, but he just doesn't get that slot. Number 2, I definitely say Drake. Again, a hot commodity right now in the conversation as of late, but it still rings true. You know, people say Drake is the new generation's biggest artist, so they heavily emphasize that point. And my point of saying that is to say that although he does have lyricism and he does have influence for sure, more than probably most people on this list, and he does have a huge Hall of Fame catalog, he doesn't have the aura to solidify him as a person to be on the list. People don't call him a GOAT. They call him the king of hip hop right now, offset from what Kendrick did to him, but he was known for being the king for a long time, but never in the category or talk of being the GOAT. That wasn't a thing, so we can't put him on that list because of that. He doesn't have all 4, but he's definitely in the honorable mention for that list. And the last one, it's kind of a free-for-all because nobody's really on the level of Kanye and Drake in that talk, in that conversation, but I will say that there is one person that should have been by now, but he fell off pretty hard to where he can't. It's not close, but it's close enough. And I'll say Big Sean. Big Sean is an honorable mention for the North Side, Midwest, of the Mount Rushmore. Definitely not the actual Mount Rushmore, but he's the closest thing we got. I'm gonna tell you why. Lyricism, for sure. Big Sean, you can't tell he can't rap. Bro got lyrics and flow and everything. He definitely has that. Influence, as far as people want to know or acknowledge, there are rappers that try to rap like him. Whether when I admit it or not, there are people that try to emulate his flow and sound. So he does have the influence. Catalog, not really. Like he has a list of projects, but not enough to say, oh yeah, this is a cult classic, I'm gonna bump this to this day thing. He doesn't really have that yet. So maybe he'll have that eventually, but I don't really see it. But you just never know, he might. But it doesn't really have that now. And of course, aura is not there. He's not talked about as being one of the greats or the GOATs or anything. So that's another reason why he's not on this list. So now we have to pick our final person for this list. We have Lil Wayne, we have Tupac, we have Jay-Z, and now we have to pick the final person. And a lot of people are probably gonna be mad at me for it, or a lot of people may agree with me. It just depends on your stance on this. But I have to be honest and look at all aspects and all 4 categories. My last pick is Eminem. You gotta throw him in there. He's there. You can't say he can rap and it's only been emphasized because he's white. The dude can rap, period. The dude can out-rap most rappers. The guy is untouchable in a lot of different ways. Let's look at the categories. Lyricist, of course. Influence more than anybody on this list. Nobody's influenced people more than Eminem. The only person that came close to influencing as many people as Eminem is a Tupac, because he's crossed the boundary and borders of just your average hip-hop user and listener. He's crossed over to people who don't really listen to hip-hop but know enough of him. Eminem is the same exact way, but just like this much more, like barely, just because he is a white guy, but he crosses boundaries between everybody. He's known amongst all cultures. He is the epitome of what you consider to be a rapper that wasn't supposed to be. So that's why he is on that. Lyricist there, the influence is there, the catalog is definitely there. Early M, I can't say now, but early M is strong enough then to hold its own today as one of the best selling records ever. as far as his albums. And Aura, of course, because people call him the GOAT all the time. Whether other people agree or disagree, he is called the GOAT a lot. So you gotta give it to him. So that's why I say Eminem is in this list and in this category. You gotta give it to him whether you like it or not. So that's the list. That's Wayne, Eminem, Jay-Z, and Tupac. So I got a person from each region of the map. And that's my final answer, man. So if you have anything to say, please leave it in the comments. Let's have a healthy discussion about it. Let's talk about it. Let's have fun. This is the channel for that. It's music. It's hip hop. It's culture. It's R&B. It's everything. It's music. So this is what we're here for. It's what we talk about. And please be respectful in the comments. Let's have a healthy discussion about it. Don't be one of those stands, ironically. And don't be one of those people that just be weird and be negative for no reason. Just have a good opinionated answer, and we can all talk about it, because that's what we're here for. It's all opinions. There's no fact checking. There is no stats, really. It's just all opinion. So make sure you keep that in mind. And just thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. And I'll see you on the next episode. Y'all be careful, be safe, and make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Watch the video all the way through. If you see an ad, play it. Help your boy out. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers, and I appreciate y'all for rocking with me all this time, and we're going to keep the ball rolling. So thank you guys for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.